First on Sunday, his Lakers lost a tight game to the Sixers. Russell Westbrook said Joel Embiid held his arm on this missed layup with 3 seconds left. You be the judge. No call, Lakers lost by 1. A fan tweeted, quote, "This is much bigger story than it is." What NBA is basically doing is 2 days in a row altering their own definition of the rules, their own guidelines, to tell the fans to, quote, believe them instead of our own eyes on game-deciding plays. How is this not a huge scandal? So LeBron then replied, and all year they keep telling me to my face on the court, quote, I didn't see it, or, quote, it wasn't a foul. It's not making sense to me. Seriously. Frustrating as hell, man. Oh, anyways, keep going, squad. All right. Well, look at this. If it isn't Jalen Rose himself, from, among other things, NBA Countdown. Jalen, what do you think about LeBron's tweet?
I'm not mad at LeBron showing a sense of urgency as a terrific, dynamic performer at this point of his career, still wanting calls. But you and I know this, Max. When you're 13th in the West and you're 4 games under 500, you ain't getting the benefit of the whistle. And that's just how the game goes. And officials don't like when I say this, but it's true. There's first quarter calls, there's fourth quarter calls, there's rookie calls, there's vet calls. Sometimes it's traveling, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's a 3 seconds on offense or defense, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's an over a back or a reach in, and sometimes it isn't. And in Joel Embiid's case, a guy that was second in the MVP race on a contending team for the Sixers, I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, those teams get the benefit of the doubt, and usually that happens via the whistle.
So, I think about these great old athletes, the longevity athletes, in modern sports history. But, oh, my God, LeBron James, 48, 9, and 8? In front of both Jabari Smiths, Jalen. Jabari Smith Jr. of the Rockets and his dad, Jabari Smith Sr., who played for the Kings, against LeBron in his first ever NBA game, in LeBron's. Jalen, how do you even wrap your head around a dude who's 38, who's played this many years in the league doing this?
The power, the strength, the ferocity of LeBron James to continue to attack. And Max, you're also seeing him be the embodiment of positionless basketball. Look at those lineups that he's playing with in a lot of situations. Just give him the ball and allow him to operate. It don't matter if he's being guarded by a perimeter player, an interior player. It doesn't matter if he's driving to the basket. LeBron James has been so very dominant. You left this off. 0 turnovers. Usually when you get older, you just have a couple of turnovers off accident as you try to ease yourself into the game. For him to still be so very dominant, effective, and efficient at this point of his career, it just begs for me to hope the Lakers can find a way to stay out of the play-in so we can get LeBron at least in a 6 seed, Max. We need this guy in the playoffs. That's what we need. He's been terrific.
Yeah, throughout most of his career. Probably, I'm not claiming he's greater than Michael Jordan. I wouldn't claim that. But probably he's, by himself, getting you closer to a championship probably than anyone who ever lived. It's because of what you just described. That is the great Jalen Rose, ladies and gentlemen. Here is our Big 12. You too, Jalen. SEC Super Tuesday doubleheader. Number 2 Kansas takes on number 13 Kansas State at 7 Eastern. Then Oscar Tshiebwe and Kentucky.
Conversation like we wanted to have about football for now. They're not pressing for any type of specific, answer, and I'm not, mentally or emotionally at that point to give one. If I'm asked about it, I'll respond in honesty. But this is not going to be something where I'm going to, respond to a bunch of inquiries about, what are you thinking this week, or what are you thinking next week, or where you at? It's just. It's get away from it mentally and then and emotionally and then physically as your body starts to come back after a few weeks of TLC, then I think you're in a better frame of mind to contemplate your future.
Dan Graziano, your informed opinion of what Rodgers will do in 2023.
Ayahuasca or one of those that terrible cleanse, right? That he did. Yeah,
Didn't work this year, by the way. They missed the playoffs.
I don't know. Look, it's going to be up to him. My sense of it is the way they structured the contract with $60 million coming this year it should be an enticement to him, and I think that's what the team is hoping. And you know, he was a big part of that contract as well, working that out. So he certainly knew. I think when he signed it, the expectation was probably that he was in for at least 2 years, and so that would be my expectation. But he's a wild card. He has said he doesn't need the money. I believe him. He could decide that he's had enough. If you're asking me to guess, I'm going to guess that he's coming back with the Packers. But I'm guessing.
Mikey, you were very critical of how Rodgers handled last offseason, and that includes Cowboys, as you heard, unless you are Brett Maher. He missed 4. That is 4 consecutive extra points last night. Graz, we going to see a new kicker for Dallas next week?
You know, they were pretty adamant after the game that they weren't going to do that. Brett Maher has had a big year, and they have confidence in him. We'll see what happens in terms of bringing guys in for tryouts. Haven't heard anything on this yet today, but you know, when the report comes out at 4 o'clock, we'll see who was there today, if anybody.
You can't keep. I mean, like, I feel terrible for the guy, but you can't keep him, right, Mike, in the playoffs?
No, I would have been calling people from the stadium, and I know we're going to have Coach Edwards on, and I heard him before. I still remember the kicks that Doug Bryan missed in a playoff game in Pittsburgh. He missed the net. We went out and drafted Mike Nugent in the second round as soon as we could. So you don't want to be sent home because your kicker missed 4 extra points. You can love Brett Maher. You can bring him back to training camp. But I'm telling you, I wouldn't have left the stadium without having at least 2 kickers en route to Dallas for a tryout today.
Did you say second round?
For Mike Nugent?
Yeah, you can't say that on TV. It's bad enough that it happened. You don't
I didn't say I was the GM at the time.
Broadcast it on TV. All right. If this was indeed Tom Brady's last NFL game, that is a tough way to go out, guys. His QBR, unlike Dak's nearly perfect one, 24. In a primetime Monday night playoff game against America's team, he threw one of the worst picks of his postseason career. It was his first career loss against Dallas at all. Now that the season's over, Tom, what's next?
I'm going to go home and get a good night's sleep as good as I can tonight.
Or when you want to take a step out? I mean, always first.
No, I'm not. You know, this has been a lot of focus on, you know, this game. So, yeah, let's just be one day at a time, truly.
All right, so guys, I didn't major in math, but it seems to me he has 3 options here, right? Brady can retire, remain with the Bucs, or go to another team. What's he do?
My gut says that he plays football next year, but not for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you listen carefully to the end of the press conference, it seemed like that was a way of him saying goodbye to the local media. He's a free agent, and if you know Tom Brady, he's the ultimate competitor, and my sense is he doesn't want to go